is to get, in your words, a recap of the main concepts that that you remember from yesterday, the things you were trying to do.
I have to use my glutes and butt.
So glutes and butt.
Well, my knees forward when I do it. I'm swinging behind back. I want to stand up and hit the ball.
Okay.
But today what's happening is just like getting behind it.
So
The grip changed a little. Now, when I take the club back now, because it's this grip, is there anything I should feel different like that? Is that all right? Or no?
yeah, no, the grip's going to be fine. The main thing is we just want that right arm folding up through your shoulder like we talked about yesterday, a little more fold up. And so,
That's what I just
you know, again, so a quick recap address, we want a reflexive squat. So it's just not a squat. If you squat and you're in a way that you feel like you're stuck, it doesn't do you any good. So we need a reflexive squat where you feel like you're going to stand up. Now from that squat, we turn and squat in the backswing. Good. We want to get tall coming into impact. This club swings down and then face the target in the finish. So those were the main things we worked on in the full swing. At the end of the day, we talked a little bit about the grip. So go ahead and put your grip on. Let's review that. You wanted to get a little bit where Hogan had it. A little bit. So that hand will stay here. This hand will be a little bit more on top. Now, if there's two things that can happen with
That far end spot, Fish, you want that spot?
I'm good here right now. Doesn't matter. Yeah, no, it's all good. I go wherever it's open. So if you have your hand in that position and you're returning it square, 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 it's great. Okay? If you keep returning it and the club face open, it's okay to move that hand back on the side. Now remember, the main reason I had you adjust that grip was for the short game shots when we needed that club face to stay open, you know, through the ball, lofted, right?
Right.
So, you know, when we're working on the grip today in the full swing, we got to find what works best for you, which alignment works best for you. Even though you're a side cover golfer and Hogan was side cover and that's where he put his right hand, that doesn't mean that's going to be great for everybody. But it's a tendency that we see with golfers, okay? And so we start with that tendency and we see how we need to adjust for you. All right? There. Now that one had a lot of zip for such a small swing. As a matter of fact, that shot went further than your full swing went when we started yesterday. Okay? And that wasn't a full swing. That's good news. I like that action. I think we have 4 out of 5 so far, right? There we go. Now I don't care right or left right now. That's just when the club face releases, how we're getting it back to square, and how we're getting that force to match up as we come into impact. Good. Now, what was good there is you really got the tall finish going. You really launched it that time. Again, we did 10 squats, right? And we did some squat and turn, squat, turn, squat, turns. You know, again, 10 of each is plenty, or maybe 10 squats and 5 or 6 squat turns was enough. And then all of a sudden, you got a lot of zip in one shot, right? That was the second one there. The verticals were so good, you just needed to get the club to the ball a little sooner. But that was a good action. That was a good body action. Remember, that squat, turn, tall finish, squat, turn, launch, finish is what I call the engine of your swing.
In other words, my turns.
Well, the finish part actually. Backswing's fine. We can get taller finish.
How do I do the finish?
Stand up. See, stand up. See how tall you are now?
Yeah.
That's how tall I want you in the finish. It's just that you'll be facing that way. There you go, like that. Mm-hmm. There we go. There it is. Now the release was early, so the shot went left, but it had more zip in it because you got to a taller finish. And it's the effort that you're making to get to the taller finish, you know, from the top of the backswing. You're in that loaded squatted position. As you're coming down, you're standing up, and you're not totally tall right at impact, but you're from a squatted position moving to a tall position. So since you're on your way there, that force is what's helping you get more speed in your swing. When you match the downswing with the arms and clubs to that upward motion that your body's making, the club goes faster. So you don't have to try to spin your hips faster. All you have to do is get up and match the downswing. So remember yesterday, I demonstrated spots here. So I showed you that one where I just sort of squatted and swung. So if I go from a squat and I just swing, a lot of speed in that move. Yeah? I'm not trying to do all this turn stuff, am I? I'm trying to get that feel of a good squat. How do I squat into the ground? Stand up and match it. So there's the speed right there.
I am going to bring that tour head over.
Now this is a exaggerated swing. I wouldn't ever ask anybody to play like that. But that's how the vertical forces of the body launching up and the club coming down are working in the golf swing. Now if I just let my body turn naturally, in the backswing, and turn to face the target on the way through, but I'm still using that squat launch move. It looks a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So it was more natural. It was easier. But look at all that speed. The speed wasn't coming from me trying to turn my hips fast, so it wasn't. You can see I wasn't firing those hips. I just made a natural turn back, but I'm using that force from pushing down and torquing. And technically, I've got vertical ground force pushing down and pushing up. I have torquing forces also from the squat and the turn.
My turns are going like my shoulders are going down.
Well, think of the turn more from your core, from your midsection. Don't think of it from your shoulders. The turn's from here. The shoulders just go wherever they go. And then, boom. It's the stand up and that release that's really giving you that acceleration. Okay? There we go. Again, didn't feel violent. All it felt like was a squat, turn, stand up. Nice casual stand up. But man, that thing really launched more than any other shot today, didn't it?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, that looked the most effortless of all your swings today. Things just synced up and took off. That was nice. So try to get that focus, just like you're keeping score again. There you go. Good enough turn, squat, turn, fold up in the backswing. There it is. So the three previous swings before that, you really weren't folding up very much, and that's why, again, you started to lose the feel, and the results weren't very good. So the backswing sequence is the squat, the turn, and that right arm's got to fold up. We don't want width, we want it to fold up. You got to feel your hands get to about shoulder height. When that right arm's folded up, so the hands are about shoulder height, you'll feel like you need to unfold that right arm coming down, and that's what helps you get that club to the ball. Okay. There it is, squat, turn, fold. And then from there, you just stand up, and everything else is a reaction at this point. There it is. Awesome.
That was the best of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the furthest today, too. So, again, it didn't feel violent. It didn't feel like you were trying to force a turn. You weren't trying to create speed. You just tried to get the technique right. Squat, turn, fold the right arm. From there, stand up. There it is. So your 7-iron is going to be about middle of your stance.
Okay.
Your pitching wedge is going to be a little bit inside your right foot, so further back. Your driver is going to be around your left heel, maybe a little ahead or a little behind, depending on how high or low you want to play it. So, yeah, so the 7-iron's in the middle, pitching wedge is back, driver's forward. So from 7-iron to driver, everything moves more forward, right? So 6-iron moves a little bit ahead of center. then 5 a little bit more ahead of center, then your hybrid, then your 3-wood. So from your 7-iron, your 8-iron's a little bit behind center, your 9-iron a little bit more behind center, then your pitching wedge, sand wedge, all those are, you know, a little bit inside your right heel. And so clubs are made with forward lean in them. Irons are made with forward lean. The shorter the club, the more forward lean. So you always want your hands in the same spot. So let me grab a couple of my clubs. So if I take this pitching wedge and I set up with the right amount of forward lean, and then I take my stance, my hand, my right hand's always just ahead of my zipper, my left hand is just inside my pocket. So that's just where it is, okay? Right. If I take the 7-iron and I give it the same, you know, its proper amount of forward lean, this ball would be a little more this way, the hands are going to be in the same spot. So that ball position changes. You see that?
Where's that little?
For me, my right hand's just in front of my zipper. Okay. And everybody's a little bit different, so you know that's what you have to figure out. Now, I want to see how the handle is in the same spot with every one of these clubs. But that 3-iron only has a little bit of forward lean. It's actually going to be right there. So my hands are almost in the same spot because the handle's in the same spot. But because the clubs are made different, the ball position has to change. Now, what a lot of people are told, take the pitching wedge and keep it in that same position, you know, up here somewhere. Well, now you're adding off. Now it won't go as far. Okay, it gets scoopy. So the other thing that happens is when you move the ball forward, you have to drive your knees. With all these shorter clubs, you got to start driving, because normally the ball would be here. So when I get there, I would make contact, because that's how the club's designed, right? Well, if the ball's up here, I get here, I'm not there at the ball yet. So I have to move forward, slide forward, do something to get there. Well, he played in the drive your knees, keep your head back, you know, era for a while. And that actually also was another thing that why he moved the ball forward. So a lot of players have said one ball position for every club in the bag, but then you actually look how they play and they move the ball around. And so, you know, I set the ball where the club is designed to go. Okay? So your 7-iron is going to be in the middle of your stance, your pitching wedge is going to be further back, your 5-iron is going to be a little ahead, your Fairwoods driver is going to be more forward. There it is. Squat turn, better fold, good stand up. We had a lot more zip again. That was nice. So the question is, what does face force mean? Right? Again, think of it this way. This is the impact zone right here. The ball's right there. So that's the impact zone. Okay? This is the face. And the force, when the face gets to facing in that direction, the force has to be moving in that direction. Okay. Now, if we were moving linearly, it'd be a lot easier to do this, wouldn't it? Right. But we swing on an arc. So we got to get the face and the force back to match up here. All right? So now, think of it this way. Okay, so if the ball was teed up right here, put the club face down there. So if the ball's teed up right there, this is now your hand. Well, when I do this, my hand is the club face, right? They're the same. Now, bring it back into the face force back to there. Good. Boom, you give it a good spank. It's not coming in and being this way with the face, with the force trying to go this way. It's not that way with the face, with the force trying to go this way. It's not the face here and the force going that way, or the face here and the force going out that way. Boom, they're meeting up, face and force. Very direct collision. It's a good way to think about it. It's a head-on collision, right? This is a head-on collision. This is not a, I'm not coming in facing this and then going like that, glancing. I'm not coming this way and getting the face over here glancing. I want a head-on collision, just like you're giving a good spank. Okay? Good. Face force, spank it out there. There you go. Okay, so again, face and force weren't so bad. But what happened? The plane was crashing, so he caught it on the downswing that time, right? And that's why it popped up a little bit. Face and force match. Make it out. Face and force match. Make it out. Face and force match. Spank it out there. Driver's the only one you're going to catch on the upswing. Everything else is played off the ground pretty much. And I mean, even when you tee them up, you still catch them more on the downswing. Because you tee them down, you don't tee them up. Now that was a good spank. Spanked it right down the corridor that time, didn't you? Yeah. And it's a feel. It's an awareness. It's an eye-hand coordination. There's no magic to this technique. You have to develop the educated hands and the eye-hand coordination to spank it down the corridor. And then you can go more back, more through, but keep spanking it down the corridor. Okay? It really amazes me when people first learn this game, they're not given basic eye-hand coordination drills, to develop control of that club face. They just go out and play and whack it around, and hopefully they find some technique. There, now that was spanking it out there. Little right side of the corridor, but hey, if that's the worst one we had all day, that'd be great. Right? Can live with that. Get that feel. Face force, spank it down the corridor. Face and force, spank it down the corridor. Yeah, so good spank again. It's just that everything was facing out to the right a little bit.
I didn't, in other words, I didn't keep following to the tournament.
No, so what happened on that one? So instead of this, if I do this on a horizontal plane, instead of this coming bam, right back to square where the force was going straight, it went this way. But the force was going to the right and the face were going to the right, the same degree. So it was just a straight push. Now, you're about 10 yards off. 10 yards right of the corridor, that's not going to kill you, right? Is that the 430 or 60?
It's the 430 with a black tie in it.
Yeah. 430 has...
That last one, 14.9 launch, 1900 spin.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's like...
Kind of close to what they call Nirvana.
Yeah. That's just about what we're saying.
Yeah. Kind of have a little stronger spank, that one.
That one got up there. That was good. They say maxing out 17 and 17. 17 I think
See, again, good spank. Now, remember, where are you facing now? You're facing to the right. Right? You tend to face to the right in your finish because we don't turn far enough around. So these 10-yard pushes you're getting right now are actually right where you're finishing. So we said that in the short term, if that's what continues to happen, you got to aim to play a push, right? So that's why I'm not worried about it being a push. I want it to be a good spank first. Face and force half the match first. Then eventually we learn to get them down the corridor. Okay? If you're good at face and force matching and you push them all day long, you play a push. Or like a Retief Goosen before he changed his swing, or like Sam Snead. If you're really good at face and force matching and you pull the ball, well, they just play to pull. Okay? Sam Snead actually called it a body pull. That's his name for his type of shot. He called it a body pull. He aimed right, he body pulled it right down his corridor. So there's nothing wrong with pushes and pulls. Lee Trevino, good face and force. He knows that club face. He knows where that force is going. But what did he do? He set up open, he took it back, he dropped it in, he played a push. But that was just his way of playing. So I'm not concerned if you get little pushes or little pulls when you're facing your forcer matching, because you can play that. But if your ball is curving too much, you're going to have a hard time playing it, because you're not going to curve it the same amount every time, are you? We haven't seen that. Some people can. We don't see that with you. You know? So we got to get that face and force matching better. There you go. It's a pretty good spank. Not the best you had so far, but pretty good one.
Well, I'm standing perfectly still when I'm doing this too, right?
What's that?
I'm not trying to get back a little bit.
Well, you're not, remember, when you're working on this, you're working on the arm swing and the eye-hand coordination. So we're not as concerned with the squat and the turn going back, are we? Now, at some point, we got to put them together. But for now, this is just more of the arm swing action to get the control of the club face, to get that face and force matching up. It pops up a little, which means the angle of attack is a little more downward than we'd like, okay? Yeah, and there's a window, 2 degrees down to 3 degrees up in there, you're going to get a pretty good shot. But if you're 1 or 2 degrees down, you're not going to get as much distance. If you're 2 or 3 degrees up, you're going to get more distance. Okay, face force, let's get it to match. Now that had good spank in it. Yeah? That's what we're looking for. That's sort of the benchmark. Okay?
I understand.
Yep.
When I'm trying to face force, I'm trying to actually go up a little, right?
Yeah. Plane's taking off. We want to get it on the upswing. Absolutely. That had more launch too, didn't it?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it had everything.
When I swung up.
It had everything. Why wouldn't we want everything?
I mean, as far as, well.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a full turn and all that yet. There we go. But we're not worried about the full turn. See, right now you're spanking it and the ball's going where your finish is aimed. We can play that. You just have to get used to playing it. Now, you know, you're going to work on the driver, just these small swings for a couple of months. Now, when you play, you just go play. But when you go to the range, I only want you to work on this.
Okay.
Now, when you feel like you're getting better and better at it, you'll naturally start to go a little bigger. And eventually you'll be able to give me the squat, turn, fold, spank it coming through with the driver, finish. But that's a down the road thing. You know, like I said, if you come back in a couple months, we'll be working on making this bigger.